this young man that grew up outside of Philadelphia, went up to school in Boston, and now will be headed to learn how to speak with a slight Southern drawl.
I think, Boone, for Arthur Blank, turn the page. It's a new era now of Atlanta Falcon football with Matt Ryan at the helm. You're talking about a kid who carried a football team that did not have great receivers, a great offensive line, or great running backs. Matt Ryan, you talk about his size, 6'4" and 3/4, about 220.
With the 6th pick in the 2011 NFL Draft, the Atlanta Falcons select Julio Jones, wide receiver, Alabama.
So Julio Jones coming to the stage. This breaks the hearts of some Rams fans that hope that he possibly could drop to them down all the way to 14. It also leaves Blaine Gabbert up for grabs for the 49ers, who are now on the clock, as we all create some headspace for those developments. Tell me about Julio Jones, Mike.
Ivy White, Tony Gonzalez, Matt Ryan is ecstatic right now. What a trade they pulled off.
Michael Turner, Julio Jones, Roddy White, Tony Gonzalez, Matt Ryan. That's not a bad nucleus to move forward. We're going to take a break. When we come back.
With the first pick of the 5th round, number 137 overall, the Atlanta Falcons select Grady Jarrett, the defensive tackle from Clemson. Rise up, rise up!
All right, there you have it, Grady Jarrett, as we discussed before, big favorite of Dabo Swinney, and he would argue, too, that guy causes the kind of confusion up front that allows some of the other playmakers on that defense to make hay.
Grady Jarrett needs to play in a penetrating scheme, but when he does it, he is dynamic. He is short, but plays with great leverage, plays with great balance, and look at him chase from that nose position. He will not give a center a break at all.
What's good? Welcome back to the Forever I Love Atlanta Sports Podcast. It's your boy The Don. I've been gone for a couple of weeks, but I'm back with you guys. Hey, it's good to be back. Welcome back to Draft Prospects. Tonight we're talking about Rashad Weaver, the defensive end for Pitt, Pittsburgh, whatever school you want to call it. All right. I'm doing it with Georgia Sports Hospitality Media Chief Editor Davonte. What's good, man?
Hey, how you doing? I just wanted to say again, welcome back to the dawn of Georgia sports.
And appreciate you, man. Appreciate you. Thank you. Man, I meant to put that Mace welcome back song on, but I ain't have no time to fool that tonight, so it is what it is. Appreciate you, Ocean Shadow, man. I'm back, man. Hey, I ain't going nowhere. All right, but we got a special guest on tonight from Boom a Bus Podcast. We got Nick Merriam. How you doing, man?
Doing good. I'm honored to be on your show where you're coming back, man. I'm all in for this. Let's go.
Hey, it's gonna be a good show, man. Anytime I'm on, hey, it can be interesting. You don't know which way it can go. So. All right, but hey, y'all know what to do. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, share this content out with Atlanta Sports Fanatics, and hit us up in the comment section. As always, come holler at your hometown sports podcast. All right. Now, tonight we're talking about Rashad Weaver. Let's put this graphic up. Now, there's some good things and some bad things about this guy. He's 6'5", weighs 270 pounds. Y'all already know I like my defensive linemen, big guys. I don't like them under 250. You know, size means everything, especially you playing in the trenches. 40-yard dash time is 4.8. His strengths is he got good size with plenty of length along the edge. He has the jar and pop in his hands and upper body. He's sneaky, efficient punching and working around the blocks. Strength and length to beat back tight ends, tackles, double teams. He's capable of posting up the edge as a two-gapper. He has adequate hands usage as a rusher. Inside power counter at the top of the rush opens the door to quarterbacks. And he keeps his hands active in the passing lanes when they rush stalls. Tell me about Nick. Tell me about his strengths. What do you like about him?
So one of the things that I love about him, and I've said this many times about a bunch of prospects over on our show, is that he had a good Senior Bowl, and I think that is a huge thing for players going to the NFL. There's a big correlation between playing well in the Senior Bowl and succeeding in the NFL because you're going up against NFL talent. There are guys who play at smaller schools who don't go up against great talent, then they go to the Senior Bowl. If they play well there, like Quinn Miners did, he's from like Wisconsin Whitewater, great sign. Rashad Weaver was one of the better players at the Senior Bowl. The Dolphins like to move their pass rushers around. They moved them inside and outside. He was able to generate pressure and play well against the run in both ways. So that was a big thing, I think, in terms of his development moving forward and that he played well there. We talked about the size. The size is a big thing. He's a power rusher. He is able to get underneath guys' pad level, push them backwards, and kind of disrupt offensive line movement by doing that. He does have pass rush moves. He needs to develop a little bit better than them. I'd say his other big strength is his arms. I don't think they're super long, but he's really well coordinated with his arms, and he's able to gain leverage by getting underneath people, manipulating pass rushers, getting under their pads by grabbing them and kind of bending around dudes with those arms. He's able to swat away arms that are trying to grab him. Of course, so those are my strengths, yeah.
All right, Davonte, you have anything to talk about his strengths?
Something I did notice when watching film, he's a pretty strong dude. I think,
yeah, he is.
Especially at the point of attack, you can see him moving bodies. That's the one thing I think will set him apart on the next level. I do think, as far as his specific position, I think he should have his hands in the dirt. I know he's standing up in the picture, but I think being 6'7", 271, he might have that hybrid type of role. So I do think he will start out as like a, depending on what team drafts him, but if the Falcons do, I do think they will have him in the 5-tech role inside.
Yeah, I just haven't have him as a true 4-3 defensive end. If you plan 3-4, you have him as that strong side defensive end. I wouldn't have him playing linebacker role just because his speed. Like he's running 4.8. He's not a fast guy, but here's the thing: if he's on a block, he knows how to get free and get to the quarterback. Or if he's trying to set that edge in the run game, he can break off that block and make a play on the running back. I've seen that on tape. All right, his weaknesses. All right, he plays almost straight up and down at the point of attack. Slow twitch to a 4-3 defensive end. Lack desired coordination. He's inconsistent, bracing against strong angle blocks. He's unable to pose a serious threat to the edge with a get off. That right there kind of made me have Tat McKinley flashbacks. But what I saw on tape, was different. And I don't want to sit up here and compare him to Tat McKinley because he's not Tat McKinley. All right, and he's below average reactive athleticism as a tackler in space. Some things like that can be coached out of a player. What's your thoughts on this, Nick?
So yeah, I agree with the up and down thing. I think there's a lot of times where he's just standing up and it's not a lot going on. It could be an effort thing. There are times where you see him kind of get out of his stance, throw a move out there, and just beat the guy quick. And it's the opposite of what you were talking about, but it's inconsistent, doesn't show up on tape enough. I think he always engages a little too early. I'd like to see him be a little more patient, chop his feet, use his arms, trying to get those tackles off balance, maybe make them commit a little early so he can use. He's not the fastest guy, but it gives you an advantage to get inside of guys' leverage and get around them to get to the quarterback. He's often going after dudes, trying to use his power, trying to use his arms to get around them. And I just think if you attack those pass rush moves over and over and over again, you're going to have a problem at a level where tackles are used to it. They've seen it before, and they're just going to adjust to it and make it so that if you grab onto them, they're just going to grab you and not let you go anywhere.
All right. Atlanta Nation, thank you for joining the show. You asked, did Weaver play in 2020? Yes, he did. He got 34 tackles, 14 tackles for loss, 7.5 sacks in 9 games last season. So there you go. Davonte, what's your thoughts on his weaknesses?
His speed, definitely. You can tell, and it's kind of weird because I was watching film on him earlier. Like sometimes he shows that impressive initial burst, getting the backfield, and then sometimes he's just that slow burn, fast rusher, pushing to the backfield, and don't let it be a play action or a long developing play because he's gonna work off that tackle and get to that sack. But in this league, with everybody becoming fast athletes, you can't be that slow, methodical guy, especially if you're trying to play edge. So that's why I do think he's going to be more of an inside guy or a base end at the next level.
Mm-hmm. I agree with you. All right. So scheme fit right now. 4-3. He played well in the 4-3 base, 5 technique, and odd fronts. Just pretty much what you just said, Davonte. NFL comparison. King said that he reminded him of Weiss. But I'm gonna go off on a limb, and I'm gonna say what I've seen in him so far. He reminds me of a Richard Seymour. Y'all remember Richard? You remember Richard Seymour, Nick?
I was a little young when he was playing, but I do remember Richard Seymour. He was productive in his time in the NFL. I think it's a good comp. I'm trying to think on top of my head about big edge rushers who have like intermittent like explosiveness and every once in a while beat guys. I already comped Robert Quinn to someone else in this draft. I forget who it was, but I think Robert Quinn is kind of a similar sized guy who he's a little faster, but it's similar in that I think you're going to see Rashad Weaver have like inconsistency, and that when his get off is good, he's going to be producing at a high level, the NFL level. When he's not, he's going to be kind of quiet in games. And I think that's kind of been Robert Quinn's career, honestly.
Yeah, I agree. Davonte, who you compare him to?
I actually was the one who put the Dietrich Wise thing in the notes because I do think he's of a similar size, 6'6", 271. It's kind of hard because you don't see like these super like large guys, especially standing up. I think if you want to just do size comparisons, you would probably do like a Justin Houston, but clearly they're not the same player. But as far as just pure power rushing, and also, I agree with you, Atlanta Nation, Richard Seymour. I remember because when you said Richard Seymour, I'm like, ain't that dude like 317? Like that was a beast. Like they don't make him like that no more.
They don't. But like, just look at you just look at the body of work. I'm not looking at the size. I'm not comparing size. I'm comparing like skill set. And what I've seen, I'm like, dang, he remind me of Seymour so much. That's just me. Y'all got to realize I'm older than y'all. I'm 33. So I've been around the block longer than y'all, and I know some players, and I'm a student of the game. I watch even like football back in the 70s and 80s. So, but going back to Rashad, he's from Cooper City. He went to Cooper City High School in Fort Lauderdale. For some reason, just South Florida just produces a lot of pass rushers. But anyway, he was very productive his senior year of high school after returning from an ACL tear and earned consistent All-American first team ACC honors. Now, he tore his right ACL training camp in 2019 season that forced him to miss that year. He returned to the field this past season, and I told you guys he played 9 games, recorded 34 tackles, 14 tackles for a loss, and 7.5 sacks. But the main thing I want to talk about is that ACL injury. Do you think that's going to play a huge factor in him getting drafted? I know he's going to get drafted. Right now, I'm projecting him to be a day 2 guy.
So actually,
go ahead. Go ahead, Nick. Go ahead.
All right, yeah. So I'm coming off an ACL injury myself, so I got a little intel on this type of thing. I've been playing rugby for 12 years, bro.
Oh man.
Yeah. just put my foot in the turf and then my knee fell apart. You know, it happens sometimes. But I gotta say, so about 9 months, I was ready to play again. And then it took like another 9 months after that for like the speed to fully come back. So Rashad Weaver had like a year of rehab, comes back, plays, looks fine, a little slow on tape. I'm wondering if at the NFL level he maybe looks a little quicker, maybe his footwork's a little bit better as he becomes more comfortable with effectively a completely rebuilt knee after that type of surgery.
Mm-hmm. So what do you think he's going to fall in the draft? Do you think he's going to be around? I don't think if he be around one pick, it's going to be probably like late first. But I can see him going in the second or third round easily.
Yeah. So it's a jumbled mess with these edge rushers. I mean, there's a ton, and it's going to matter about scheme fit and like who wants what type of player. He could go anywhere from early second to late third, I think. I got him as 58th overall on my board. That would be late second. That's around where I would take him. But I mean, I don't have a read on these edge players, man. I have no idea. It's so strange because you see people mocking guys like Greg Rousseau in like the top 8, and other people don't have them even in the first round. It's just a mess. And Rashad Weaver is just one of those guys where it's like, you know, you see the traits, and there's certain schemes that I think he'd really fit, like a natural 4-3, a team that likes to move guys around more of a hybrid front, like Baltimore might be interesting, where he could line up in different spots and they can kind of take advantage of maybe him being tired at times and put him on the inside, let him just play against the run. But I don't honestly. My bet would be late second, early third if I were to say where he goes.
Okay. Yeah, late. Yeah, that's fair enough. Davonte, what about you?
Actually, I wanted to throw this out there. So we wanted to compare him to a certain former Falcon. How would you feel about a Patrick Kearney comparison?
Patrick Kearney? That's not far-fetched. I understand why you said that. Like, he got the size, the length, powerful. Like, Kearney was strong. Kearney was like you had to double team this man back in the day. So yeah, I get it. Just looking at tape, yeah, he was double teamed a lot. Rashad was, especially last season. So I get it.
That's before my time. I don't know who Patrick Kearney is. I'm not gonna lie.
I'm trying to look him up. I'm like, I don't think he knows who Patrick Kearney is. But yeah, he was a former. He was a defensive end for us. Back like when Vic was playing.
Yeah, how old is Nick? Because I'm not old neither. Like, how old are you, Nick?
I'm 20. I'm turned 21 in May.
Okay.
I started watching.
Man, I wish I was
watching 2006. So Vic's last year as a Falcon would have been the year I started watching. It's also the year I started watching is the year after Washington last won a playoff game. So I've never seen my team win a playoff game, and that's kind of my. I'm just hoping we get one someday. You know.
Who's your team?
Washington, unfortunately.
Oh my goodness!
Hey, shout out to the football team.
Washington football. The team ain't got no name. Wow,
man, bro.
I like that name for now. I like it a lot.
I remember I got a friend who's a Washington fan, and like this year he was hyped up over it. And I'm like, y'all ain't gonna do nothing. He talking about, man, put some respect on my team name. I'm like, what name?
Yeah, true.
Y'all ain't got no name.
Go ahead and go with the Red Tails, man. I like that name the best.
I like Red Tails too.
I like Red Tails too. That's an homage to the Tuskegee Airmen. So yeah, I think y'all should go ahead and pitch that. I signed a petition if y'all ever want to do a petition to the Red Tails. I know I ain't no Washington football team fan, but I sign off on that for y'all for real.
Yeah, I'd be down for that. I think it fits best with what we need for our team name. I think it's a good idea. But yeah, long story short, I don't know who Patrick Kearney is.
Yeah, he played for us. We drafted him, all right, and then I think we drafted him in '99, I believe. Had to be '99 because I think 99, and then he played with us till like 2005, 2006, and then he went to Seattle and played there for a few seasons.
I guess to help Nick out a little bit, let's say he was like a little J.J. Watt before J.J. Watt.
Yeah, that's a good
Makes sense. Rotational guy. That makes sense.
All right. Now, here's my take on this situation. And I know Boomer Bust, y'all like one of the best draft brands out there. I give y'all credit for that.
Good try.
And y'all ain't trying, y'all actually doing it. So shouts out to y'all.
Thank you.
Now, the Falcons, we have had issues with pass rush for the past few years. All right. Now, we already set up here and said Weaver's not going first round. But if you're a Falcons GM, I want to pick your brain for a second, if you don't mind.
Go ahead.
Okay, good. Thank you. I was hoping you were going to say yes. All right. So, because right now we're sitting at the 4th overall pick. Who would you pick at 4? Or would you pick it for? Or would you trade?
I know. Max already came on and said he'd take a quarterback. I know it annoyed y'all. If you're
don't worry about what Max said. I want to hear what you go say.
So if you're gonna stay at 4, it's got to be an off. There's no defensive player you're taking it for, and that's the tough part for this team because I think it's got to be defense if you're trying to improve right now, right?
Yes.
So if I'm there, I'm trying to trade out. That's like the number one thing I'm trying to do.
Bingo. I've been saying that for weeks.
If I end up staying at 4, the 3rd and 4th prospect for me right now is Penei Sewell, who might not be on the board, honestly.
Ooh, hold on. I gotta give you a clap. Sewell. Now I've been talking about Sewell. Like you cannot never have enough high caliber offensive linemen. You know, you build that line for the future. We already, we don't have Alex Mack anymore. Jake Matthews has been inconsistent, but he's still a good serviceable tackle. But you have Caleb McGarry, who still we don't know when he's gonna come into his own yet, if he comes into his own. And then you got Chris Lindstrom, who is he's a good guard. All right. You put Sewell with that core, our line is just him just getting drafted, it done went up.
He could play guard too if you need him to for a little bit. Washington a couple years back took Brandon Sheriff, pick number 5, and we had our tackles set, and he was a tackle prospect. Put him at guard. He's an all-pro guard now. I mean, tackle's obviously more valuable than guard. He'd rather have a tackle, but Jake Matthews getting up there in age. Maybe you put Sewell next to him for a couple years, and then if you move off of Matthews, you slot Sewell over to left tackle, and he can pick up right where he lefts off. Now, I know the part you don't want to hear me to say is that if Sewell is off the board and they're sitting there at 4 and they can't trade out, I think it's got to be a QB. And I know.
Okay. Hold on. Which quarterback? Which quarterback you want to pick?
Well, I mean, which do I want to pick? I mean, Trevor Lawrence is the best one, but I don't know if he's not going to be there.
My thing is, if you ain't number 1, you ain't number nothing. But go ahead.
I think Zach Wilson's going to be the 2nd pick in the draft. I don't think he's the 2nd best prospect. I think Justin Fields is better. So,
but you just, oh my goodness, you want to say Justin Fields?
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Let me say this about Justin Fields. I know I said this earlier while I was at work. I don't personally like a quarterback prospect who couldn't necessarily make it at UGA of all schools because UGA is not a quarterback school. So if you can't make it there, it really makes me look at you.
I don't know if he couldn't make it at Georgia. I think Kirby Smart just didn't start him, man. Like, come on, like for Jake Fromm starting over him.
But here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. All right, you had the opportunity to beat out Jake Fromm.
True, but
Fromm.
Come on, you must have played football. You know how it works. Sometimes coaches just give the default to the older player.
Sometimes,
Jake Fromm, right?
But Jake Fromm was he was a serviceable, he was a game manager. I give him that. But as far as like Fields, I know Fields is better than Fromm. We know this. I'm not even finna debate that. All right. But to come in and actually take over a position is more than just your athleticism. You have to know how to read the playbook. You have to know how to manage game situations because they do all this in practice. And if you can do that, you're not starting.
Fair enough.
This is why Justin Fields, and he was not just the number one quarterback in the country coming out of high school. He was the number one player in the country at all positions. And you telling me that you can go to Georgia and actually get your mind right and take over that position? That right there is red flags to me. Yes, he went to Ohio State, but let's be real. And I'm a Michigan fan, and I'm not trying to hate on Ohio State. Name me the last quarterback that came out of Ohio State that was good. I'll sit here and wait.
None, but it's
okay.
I mean, look, recruiting's a little different now. All the good players end up at like 3 schools in the country at this point. It's all just Clemson, Ohio State, and Alabama nowadays. So I don't know what to tell you. I think if he stayed at Georgia, well, that was years back. It's before the playoff. Playoff messed with everything. If he stays at Georgia, all this discussion I don't think is going on though, right? No one's talking about, oh, he's an Ohio State player, he's in that system. Dwayne Haskins came from that system.
That's not the main argument. I'm building up to what I'm about to say.
Okay.
All right, I always build up. Now, you look at the Big Ten conference. All right, I'm not even going to say Michigan is one of those schools because we trash. I can say that about my team. You got Ohio State, which has been the beacon of that conference, okay? Then you had Penn State every so often. Northwestern made some noise a little bit. But other than that, who else is in that conference? They're not playing anybody. And when they do play, Indiana, they had a little year or whatever, but let's be real. Like, they didn't play anybody. Like, Georgia, come on now. You playing Florida every year. Sometimes you playing LSU, you playing Auburn every year. These teams are always in the top 15. All right. Fields haven't played against any high caliber players. Now, he has been on his team, he has talent around him. Zach Wilson, you can't really say that much about him. He doesn't have that much, like, you compare BYU roster and you compare Ohio State roster. It's not the same. Nowhere near. Ohio State got way more better players than BYU. All right, same thing. North Dakota, that's in a whole different division, so I'm not even going to bring up Trey Lance like that. But I feel like the second best quarterback in this class has to be Zach Wilson. That's just me.
I think honestly, like, I like Fields. So I could turn that argument around, but I'm not gonna. Whatever.
Go ahead, man. Go ahead. I like this.
Well, I mean, like, all right. So Ohio State still is playing better teams than BYU is, honestly. Like, BYU went against Boise State's defense was all right. Who else did they play? Houston. Was Houston's defense any good? I don't know who the best teams they play were, but it's just not. I mean, Coastal Carolina was the best team they played all year, and they lost.
Yeah, they lost. Yeah, I get that. Yeah.
So, I mean, it's. I think it's really difficult to compare skill levels in college because, like you just said, if you're playing at a lower level, you're not playing the big Power 5 school. You're not playing against really good teams, but you're also not playing with great competition supporting you. Like, you don't have great receivers. So it kind of, in my opinion, somewhat evens out. And if you're a great player, like, you kind of it just shows up, So
now, go ahead. And I got my last question for you. This is the explosion right here. But go ahead.
So I personally, I think Wilson and Field. I'm not going to be upset if someone takes one of those QBs over the other. Like, I don't think it's a bad call. I think it's just, how do you feel? I feel like intangibly, I've seen some amazing things. Like, this guy probably breaks ribs against Clemson and gets up and just torches them in the second half. That to me it's a small thing, but to me it speaks volumes about his character, be able to get up and just knowing, because I know if that happened to Dwayne Haskins, he wouldn't have come back in the game. He wouldn't have cared. So that's just, for a young kid like him, that's just amazing. And I think it's a type of thing that helps you succeed in the NFL if you have that drive. But Zach Wilson might have the same drive. I just haven't seen it yet, All
right, next. Here's the thing. All right, yeah, you brought up the Clemson game, and I'm going to be real. Yes, Ohio State, they beat the mess out of Clemson. But, yeah, that's what you should do when Clemson didn't have their offensive coordinator because he was out with COVID. Yeah. All right, a lot of people be forgetting that. Yeah, now, which team in the NCAA that has a like you can kind of mirror them to a NFL team? It's only one. Bama. Okay, good. That's correct. Now, when you look at when Fields played at Bama, when he played Bama in that national championship game, how did he perform?
Like average. He was fine. He wasn't that great though. Like he didn't elevate the team. I'll tell you that.
Okay, so if he performed like this against a team that's kind of, this is a college team, but guess what? Nick Saban had these guys playing like NFL level football. All right, if you're struggling against Bama, all right, and you're supposed to be this prodigy type of quarterback, generational talent, like some of these, and I'm not talking about you, all right? I'm talking about some of these other people that's, I'm not even going to call them content creators. What are they, Davonte?
They in a clique, like Matt Carroll said.
Waste of space. Let's call these guys waste of space, okay? They're a waste of space, all right? Waste of space on the internet, all right? And if you're listening to me, I'm glad you're listening to me. But anyway, y'all are wasting space. And they sit here and they hype this man up like he's the best quarterback that's coming out of college since Peyton Manning. All right. And they say, oh man, Justin Fields. I'm like, okay, look how he played in the national championship game against Nick Saban and the Bama. Now, he did that once again. He played like this against Bama. How you think he's gonna play in the NFL? When you got to go up against, especially at the Falcons, you got to go up against Sean Payton 2 times a year. You got to go up against Bruce Arians and at Tampa Bay. They just won a Super Bowl 2 times a year, and we don't know what Carolina's going to look like. And then you look at how the other NFC teams look. Like, how you think we're going to look if we have Justin Fields under the rim? And well, he go sit behind Matt Ryan once again. You guys. Y'all sit here, y'all call Matt Ryan trash. All right?
I think he's good. I think he's getting up there in age. That's all. And it's an important position. You got to replace it at some point. You know, you got a chance now. You might as well try.
Which I got to get into this. I respect that take right there.
I do too. But
my problem becomes where when they say, oh, well, it's just because he sucks. We need the next mobile quarterback. We need this. We need that. And then I just said this on Twitter earlier. If you think he sucks,
why you want trash to train? Why you want trash to train a young up-and-coming quarterback? That doesn't make sense at all.
It's hypocritical from our fan base. If you don't like Matt Ryan, why is he the next teacher of the next quarterback? If he's the next teacher, you think you must value him, right?
Yeah, and I get he's getting up there in age. I get that. And the people looking at, oh, well, Kansas City did this with Alex Smith. Oh, well, Green Bay did this last year. I get that, but guess what? Green Bay picked, they didn't pick top 5. And when Kansas City picked Pat Mahomes, they didn't pick top 5. We picking in the top 5. And when the last time a team that picked in top 5 had a quarterback sit an entire year or 2? Last time that actually happened, yes. You can make yes. When San Diego drafted Philip Rivers back in 2004. And then really and truly Drew Brees he won comeback player of the year that year. So if Brees didn't play any type of way that he did in 2004 and the Chargers were struggling, they would have yanked him out and put Philip Rivers in. So people gotta understand that, yeah, I get the age. He's 35, by the way. All right.
Which is getting it to be just becoming younger now with how.
Yeah. But check this out. The playoffs. All right. The playoffs last year, they had 6 quarterbacks. 6 or 7 quarterbacks were over the age of 35.
A lot of older quarterbacks. Yeah.
So you had Ben Roethlisberger, you had Tom Brady, you had Drew Brees, you had Alex Smith didn't suit up, so he don't count. You had Philip Rivers, he was with coach. Rodgers. And you get Aaron Rodgers. I think he had somebody else too.
I got a question though. How many of them were mobile, by the way?
I think more than half of them probably were pretty mobile, but I mean, I mean, it shouldn't be a lockdown though that you need to have a mobile QB. I mean,
hold on.
Glad you understand.
It helps, but
can you say that again for the people in the back? I just want to hear it again, please.
You don't need to have a mobile QB to succeed at the position. It certainly helps, but I don't know that it's like. I mean, look at Tom Brady. He still won a Super Bowl. I mean, the guy runs a slower 40 than probably, honestly, all we do. Honestly, that guy's slow as shit.
The thing though about winning Super Bowls, you have to have a team. It takes a team. You have to have a complete team to win. You got to have a defense. You got to have offense. Yes, you got to have special teams that can also flip the field. For your offense, you got to have a good coaching staff. You got to have a GM who knows what pieces to bring into the organization to compete. And Falcons ain't never had that under Thomas and Dimitroff. All right. Now, going back to the quarterback talk, a lot of people say, "Well, scramble quarterback can escape pressure." Not true. You can't escape pressure. Defense coordinators stay up all night planning and scheming how to stop run the quarterback, a scrambling quarterback. Do this all the time. So, all right. We spend a lot of time on this one. So, who's your third person?
It's a third person?
You said you had 3 picks.
Oh, I said Sewell. Well, I know we're going on this. What's the reaction if they pick Trey Lance at that position?
If they pick Trey Lance,
I'm just trying to gauge this. That's all.
If they pick any quarterback, all right, and this is in my opinion, all right, it won't make sense. And look what we just restructured Matt Ryan's contract.
Yeah. That so, I agree with.
I think just doing that, that right there kind of kills that narrative of us drafting a quarterback. Now, if they do, then yeah, we're here, sit, learn, whatever. But we're just wet. We just picked a quarterback just to stop power.
Yeah.
So, but my thing is, and it's been a lot of hype on Kyle Pitts, which we're gonna do a show on Kyle Pitts next week, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. On him, and I can understand that pick because of Calvin Ridley's going to be in his contract year next year. This is Hayden Hurst last season with the Falcons. He's up for a contract. So if you're looking at the Falcons cap space right now, it's not looking good, and then not looking good next year neither. So if you're not going to pay both of those players, I can really see them bringing back Ridley. I just don't see them having Ridley walk. But if Hayden Hurst, you can't pay Hayden Hurst, then if Kyle Pitts sitting there at 4 and you don't have a trade back worth doing, then I would be mad for them, pulling the trigger on Kyle Pitts. I wouldn't. And y'all hearing this first with my mouth.
My thoughts are, I just can't come to grips with picking someone in the top 5 and saying, you know what, you're going to sit. I'm not going to pay someone that amount of money. And now people don't understand now. We're in the new age. They're making money now. I'm not going to pay somebody that amount. Just sit there. And there's so many day one starters at 4, or you trade back and get another one. And you're like, you know what? I want a quarterback that's not going to play. All these teams that you've seen those reported deals of how aggressive they were, such as the Chicago Bears, how aggressive they were when they wanted to try to get Russell Wilson. So if you're looking at deals like that, how aggressive are you going to try to come from 20 to 4? Such a team that's in the back that's looking towards the future. I think a lot of our fan base is not thinking, okay, hey, we can actually build this team from the ground up. And we can actually grab multiple starters. We ain't got no safeties right now. We got one starting corner. Our pass rush is non-existent. But we're going to pick someone that's going to sit. I just can't come to grips with that personally.
Which is why we talking about Rashad Weaver right now. We can get him in this. If you trade back, all right. Say for instance we trade with somebody that's in the high teens or the 20s. All right, you get 2 seconds, you get 2 thirds automatically just by trading your 4th pick away. You can pick up a guy like Rashad Weaver in the 2nd round or 3rd round. And you fix your pass rush right there. You can double up on pass rushes on day 2.
Yeah.
which we need to do.
And you're probably going to hit on at least one of those guys, maybe hit on both. And all of a sudden, you've got at least a building block on the defense, which is something they've honestly been searching for a while. I was even thinking if you're going to trade back, and the Panthers and the Broncos sitting there at 8-9, they might try and come up and get a QB. You could ask maybe for first next year. If not, maybe you get a couple second rounders, a couple thirds, or third and a couple seconds from them as well as moving back, and target Patrick Surtain at the end of the top 10 there, because I think he would fit in well with what they're doing there defensively. And at least get another piece in that secondary, because I know they need bodies there as well. But this is a draft where there's going to be depth in edge rusher and corner in the second and third round, and to have more picks, even if it's just to manipulate the board at that point in the draft so you can move around and get the guys you want, would be very helpful for this team.
I agree with you on that. Davonte, you got anything to say?
I totally agree with that. I just think this team just needs a total influx of talent. Now you brought Dean Pease out of retirement. So let's talk about that for a second. This man is 71 years old. And now I hope and pray to God I get to be that age. And when I'm that age, I'm not going to come out of retirement for no rebuilding, nothing. You finna tell me losing? No, I refuse. I could sit there at home if I want to. So I don't know why people have this notion that the Falcons are rebuilding. That's not the case. Even tight end Lee Smith, who just got traded here from the Buffalo Bills, said he came here to play with Matt Ryan, and there's a winning mentality that's going to here. And he's always telling, hey, we're not that far off, really. You bring in Arthur Smith. Arthur Smith has shown he's capable of translating that scheme. Matt Ryan has played in the similar scheme with Kyle Shanahan. Then you're bringing Dean Pease, who literally looked at our defense.
Mm-hmm.
This defense that went 4-12 and said, you know what, I like these guys. That's before signing anyone. So
but you know what, Davonte, somebody said that our defense wasn't that bad last year. We was top 10 in defense.
I don't know what top 10 that we had. We top 10 in yards allowed.
Right now, bro.
Top 10 in yards allowed.
What'd you say, Nick?
I'm looking that up right now. I'm trying to figure out what they're talking about.
Let me look it up. Look it up.
I challenge you to find a stat the Falcons were a top 10 in on defense. I don't care what stat you're gonna find. Top 10 injuries, probably. I don't know what you're talking about.
Exactly.
Let's see. Well, they had them. Well, they 19th over. I don't even know if that's right.
Top 10 and allowing teams to convert third downs on us. Yeah, top 10 in that.
We got top 10 in middle linebacker beating your defensive end in sacks. We top 10 in that. I like that.
I'm not gonna find anything. I don't know. I don't know what they're talking about.
Don't you love when your middle linebacker, gets more sacks than the person that was paid to come in here and get sacked? Don't you love that?
That makes no sense at all.
Don't you love trading? Don't you love trading a 7th round pick for a guy that you didn't think was going to make the team, and he also almost led the team in sacks?
It's not what you want. So yeah, like basically you need a complete you need players everywhere on that defense. It's not you got Grady Jarrett, he's good. Deion Jones, he's had some injuries. He's had a better year this year than he's had in a while, because I think it was, I don't know if I'm completely right about this, but he played more this year than he had. Has he been hurt a lot lately? Is that what's going on with him? I don't know.
Talking about Deion?
Deion, yeah.
No, he hasn't been injured since what?
Really?
2018?
Okay. I guess
I think the big difference in his play happens to be the people in front of him, because he went from the Dontari Poe and those bigger guys that could keep him free.
Yeah, he get washed out of plays a lot. Like we don't. That's another thing. We need to get a big, like, one tech or nose tackle on that defensive line, not only to help Grady Jarrett and the other people on that defensive line, but also to keep our linebackers clean when they shoot those scouts.
Mm-hmm. And when you, in this league where passing is king right now, teams want to drop more guys into passing zones so they can defend. Yeah, you want more guys defending the pass because it's more deadly to be giving up those big plays. You need to have those guys who can kind of move laterally up front to defend against the run, because God forbid you drop 7-8 guys to defend against the pass and they run a draw play if you got an athletic guy like, say, an Lim McNeil at NC State, who's probably going to go mid-second round, and maybe Atlanta trades back, gets a pick, and takes him. He's a guy who can kind of play two-gap and get out there, and if somebody does throw the ball out of 4-wide shotgun or runs the ball out of that, then he's a guy who can make plays for you and make it difficult for teams to run the ball when you're in a passing defensive set.
I like Tyler Shelvin for LSU.
Yeah, he's good too. He's less of a two-gapper, more of a guy who just stands there and takes up two gaps because he's 400 pounds or whatever. But that works too. It just
depends on what Pease likes. I know his last nose tackle, who's for some reason still a free agent, by the way, Daquan Jones, was around 315, which is kind of a similar weight for Alan McNeil.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure what they're going to do. I actually want them to actually just throw Sinat out there. He's been a bowling ball. He can take up some space. I don't know why he's been such a player that's been under wraps from the previous regime. Like I'm kind of tired of having it be the Grady Jarrett show. I want to have some people around him that can get back there, move some people around, and actually make plays.
And the truth of the matter is, if you fill out the roster, you find more pieces, you're probably going to hit on a couple guys. You just need to get average on defense. It's an offensive league. We got the Chiefs have an amazing offense in Mahomes' first year starting, and they can't get to the Super Bowl because their defense is terrible. They become average on defense, and it propels them to a Super Bowl win. And then last year we saw the Raiders, Dallas, and Atlanta all had, even Dallas without Dak Prescott, and I'll admit this, even though I hate their guts, were all very good on offense, but their defenses were just atrocious, and they just couldn't overcome it because you can score 35 or you're giving up 40 a game. It doesn't matter.
That we gotta talk about that, because I don't know why people. It seems like whenever, like, the casual fans just watch the offense or the box score, but you can't. We've seen games where the Falcons scored a lot. What happened? They lost.
It's Matt Ryan's fault. It's Matt Ryan's fault. We ain't scored enough points. We scored 39 points against Dallas, and lost.
And gave up all them points, and then want to lie and talking about special teams, they knew what they was doing. What special teams unit you ever seen watch the ball roll and they not the ones trying to get the ball?
I'll tell you, man. I just look. At this point, man, some of these fans, I just don't understand. Like, we always get a defensive pass, and that's the problem. You need defense, like you just said with the Chiefs. Chiefs had an average defense, and that gave them a Super Bowl win. We in our Super Bowl 2016, we walked in Houston, Reliant Stadium with the 27th ranked overall defense. Yeah, we look good first three quarters. But Belichick, he saw the flaw in us real quick and adjusted. And hey, we gave up what? We gave up that 25-point lead and lost in overtime. People don't want to talk about that, though. People don't want to talk about that. That's the thing.
If you can't get stops, it don't matter how good your offense look, man. I don't care how many Hall of Fame players you got, all these high-flying catches. If you can't get the stop at the end of the day, those highlights look good on ESPN, but they ain't in the W column.
That's all I ask, man, is to get a average defense. That's all we need. We have an offense that can put up the points. If we have a competent play caller, and I have faith in Arthur Smith. And somebody else said that you know Arthur Smith, Nick. All right, and you remember Dirk Cutter?
Yeah.
Is Arthur Smith play calling different? Is Arthur Smith play calling similar to Dirk Cutter's?
I don't think so. I think with Arthur Smith, you're going to see like more power sets probably. You're going to see more. Absolutely not. Dirk Cutter's, I mean, it wasn't slinging as much as Bruce Arians was with Jameis Winston, but they were definitely throwing the ball out in Tampa when he was there, if I can remember correctly. I think you're going to see less shotgun probably this year than you've seen in past for the Falcons, which is maybe not ideal because they're really good at throwing the ball, but what Arthur Smith does with the run game to open up passing lanes has been pretty impressive in Tennessee. I think he's a guy who understands that he doesn't have to build the Titans again in Atlanta. Like, he's not going to attack getting another Derrick Henry and just build the O-line and try and build it. He sees his pieces on this offense. He says, we have to build an offense that fits what we have. So it might not be exactly the same as Tennessee, but I think he's a much better play caller than he's the best play caller Atlanta's had since Kyle Shanahan for sure. Which, the offense should be, if you get older, you might see some regression from a player perspective, but if the play calling gets better, it offsets it. So the offense should still be fine.
All right. You just said something about, you said the run open up the pass. Davonte, did somebody say that running the ball doesn't open up the passing?
I was told that you don't need a running game for the play action.
Exactly.
Play action is literally,
well, it depends. It depends. It depends. It's. I feel like it's hard to explain. So the Bills.
No, you good. You good, man. You good, Nick. You good. We just some people told us some stuff, some tall tales.
Defensive backs will always bite on play action, regardless. So if you're running play action is probably going to work regardless. But you're not going to run play action every single play because they're going to know that's going to work at some point. So you want to open up the non-play action. You're probably going to have to run the ball a little bit. Now, when you choose to run the ball to open up the pass, I think is what matters most with offenses these days. And it tends to be when you're running the ball like second and long, that's what kills offenses because you're basically seceding that you're going to have a third and long after that because if your average run play in the NFL is 4 yards and you run it on 2nd and 10, it's going to be 3rd and 6, which opens up the playbook a little bit, but you're forced to throw the ball on 3rd and 6 and the defense knows it. You're not going to run. You're usually not going to run for a first down at 3rd and 6.
In that scenario, I understand.
I think that's the biggest difference between a Dirk Cutter and an Arthur Smith. Arthur Smith is going to run the ball. Dirk Cutter, you can end the game and the whole running back room has 10 carries in total. I think that's BS. There is no way you should end the game where your running back has ran or got 10 carries at all. So,
bruh, let me put this to. We could be up 21 points in the 3rd quarter. All right, and Dirk Cutter want to continue to still throw the ball instead of running the ball to eat up clock. That's sad.
And what I also like that Arthur Smith is bringing is that you're going to actually see some movement pre-snap. It feels like with Dirk Cutter, it was like that's the play, that's how we set it up. You run that, you go. Like it's like Madden. Like a Madden, when the play clock dropped down, you ain't got really much time to let me have this wide receiver go from the left to the right. That's how Dirk Cutter called the games. Like this play is how it's set up. I don't care how long these routes develop. You about to run this play.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And there's like a correlation between successful offenses and how much motion they use in the NFL today. Motion is huge. It just tells you everything about what a defense is doing. It's way more creative than just coming out in an empty set and just saying, "Hey, let's just run it." I know I live in Philly now, so I hear Eagles fans all the time. They ran like the lowest rate of motion in the NFL last year. And you saw what it did to their offense. It was just stale. It was Carson Wentz running away from defensive linemen, throwing.
That's weird. Y'all was the king. Y'all was the king of RPOs back in 2017.
Yeah,
it's just I don't understand how offense could come out and just say, "Okay, here's where our players are set up. Let's just go." These players are smart. You can't just come out here and just run that. You got to try to disguise it. You can't just come out here and say, "All right, just go run a post."
You have the ability to do something to manipulate a defense and take advantage and almost always gain an advantage on every play. So why wouldn't you do it every play to gain that advantage?
Exactly. I don't understand.
So. If we want a quick announcement here, the Falcons their new additions did choose their numbers. Sorry to Keanu Neal. Fabian Moreau took that 22. Mike Davis got 28. Brandon Copeland, 51. Barcavius Mingo, 52. And then Lee Smith took 85.
I forgot you guys got Fabian Moreau. He's all right.
Fabian, I like Fabian. Yeah.
He was for Washington. He was a bit of a depth piece. He didn't start a whole lot, but he was always solid. Like he wasn't the guy that was going to get torched. I mean, he's better on the outside than in the slot, but he can play both. And just if you're trying to build up pieces on the defense, he's a good guy to have in there. Just if you're trying to improve, I think so. I think it was a good cheap signing for them if they're trying to just improve from a bad defense.
Yeah, we just got to get better depth pieces. We ain't got depth. We ain't got depth, but we just trying to get better depth pieces at this point because we ain't got the money. Like I just realized, I really feel like we're gonna try to maximize all these picks on the draft, and then when June 1st cuts come around, we end up getting a little bit more money. Well, what we can do is June 1st we cut Matt Ryan. That'll get us more money. I'm just playing. But anyway, June 1st come around, we'll have a little bit more money to spend, and whoever's still out there in free agency, we can bring them in. So
from this offseason, it does appear that the theme is clearly who's hungry. We ain't got that much money to pay you, but we'll give you opportunity. So
who wants to come on this? Who wants to take a chance with the Falcons? That's the thing. Because you hear Lee Smith when he said his interview, who wants to take this? A new regime. You got a new GM. You got a new head coach. You got veteran coaches on this team, especially on that defensive side, under Dean Pease's defensive staff. Like these guys been around. They know these players. All right, and these players understand. They ain't recognize game. Like they say, hey, exactly. They want to come and play.
So I think that's what I read about Moreau. That's one of the reasons he came to Atlanta is for opportunity. Because I know when he was with Washington, they saw him as more of a depth special teamer, and I think the Falcons are like, we ain't really got a starter right now, so what's up? It's
yeah, exactly. Like that spot right there is for you to lose. To be honest with you, so
they got a link to Washington now in the front office. Kyle Smith was our personnel director, and now he's in Atlanta. I don't really know what he does in terms of free agency and talent scouting with the NFL, but his drafts have been fantastic for us. At least outside of the second round has been a little iffy, but everything else has been great. We've found talent just about everywhere, including guys like Cam Curl in the 7th round this year. I mean, that's just whenever you get a starter and like a good starter and like late day 3, that's great. We had that happen multiple times. It would be him, Chase Roulier is a center, Matt Ioannidis, a defensive tackle. I think you're going to see improvement, at least from a drafting standpoint, in later rounds in Atlanta too, and that's going to help them out.
Yeah, I love the Kyle Smith hiring. For me, yeah, he's over player personnel with us right now, though. So he pretty much it's pretty much the same job that he did in Washington. Mm-hmm. So, but like I said, y'all, especially the way y'all drafted in the trenches, that's what we needed. We needed a guy like Kyle Smith to come over here to help us out, building our defensive line and continue to build on what we have on offensive line. So KZ went to the Cowboys. Yeah, he's on a 1-year deal. Yeah, I already knew they want to get KZ on a long-term deal. They want to see if he can prove it and stay healthy. So
Cowboys got both Falcons safeties.
Yeah,
I can't say I'm too disappointed about that.
But they got Ricardo Allen too?
No, Ricardo went to Cincinnati.
Oh, yeah.
But they got Keanu.
I like that a little bit better than grabbing Kazee, because we already know Kazee is to me too slow to react to plays, and he got and he's gonna lose some of that speed with that energy, especially getting up there in age. I think he's gonna be 28, 29 this season, so yeah, it's gonna be something.
Feels like he just got drafted, man. Time flies, man.
Oh, he did.
And he's just old. That's
amazing. He's just older prospect.
Yeah. All right. Well, hey, Nick, appreciate you coming on the show, man. We really appreciate it. Once again, let everybody know who you are, where they can find you.
Yeah, so you can hit me up at Nick with Sports on Twitter. Hit us up, our podcast at Boomer Bust Draft, I believe. Yeah, at Boomer Bust Draft on Twitter. You can find us on YouTube, Boomer Bust the Draft Show. Also got a WordPress website, boomerbustdraft.com. Articles, videos, podcasts from on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, any of that stuff. We just got through our positional videos. We're doing top 10s of all those. We are probably going to have some guests coming on soon. We're excited about that, hoping to kind of further our ability to get more guests in the future. And we're just gearing up for the draft. We're getting ready. It's coming quick and very excited. Should be fun.
Yeah, appreciate you coming on, man. I'm ready for the draft. I am, man. I'm ready for the life to get here. Ooh, that's going to be a night.
Yeah, man. I just love that the NFL offseason is so big now because it's like the season's an extra 4 months now. It's fantastic. It's like, let's go.
And just with them, I don't know if Washington's fan base is toxic, but just, dude, man, just being on social media and just hearing the fan base, oh, we need a quarterback, and no, we don't need a quarterback. Like, it just, it's a mess. It's a mess. So, thank you for coming on, man.
No problem.
Hey, if y'all new to the channel, y'all already know what to do. Hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, share this content out with Atlanta Sports Fanatics, and hit us up in the comment section. As always, come holler at your hometown sports podcast. It's your boy The Don with Georgia Sports Hospitality Media. Davonte, Davonte, you gonna sign us out, man? You gonna say something?
Oh, my bad. All right.
You gonna say something?
Y'all can find us on Twitter at GSHM_group. I just shot you a tweet, Nick. I also shot the tweet to the full Boomer Bust as well. Follow us back on both. I don't know who controls the full account, but give us a follow back. Let's keep this connection growing. Quick shout out to Lemon Pepper Lou for coming back to Atlanta. I like this trade a lot. I know we ain't gonna get into anything basketball, but I do like bringing back Lou Williams. We're gonna get buckets now.
Just need to stay behind Magic City, man. We be all right.
I can't guarantee that.
Oh, well. We just have to do what we got to do. Everybody who's watching live, man, appreciate y'all joining the live. If y'all watching this at a later time, please let us know in the comment section what you think about Rashad Weaver or anything, other topics we talked about on the show tonight. Appreciate y'all so much. We will be back this Sunday, and I'm hoping to bring on 2 guests at the same time who has a different opinion about the quarterback situation. Yes, these 2 guys does not like Matt Ryan, and it's going to be them 2 against me. So that's going to be interesting. Handicap match. I'm pretty sure I can hold my own. Trust me, I got jumped plenty of times before in my life, and trust me, more times than I got jumped, I won. So that's why they call me the Don for a reason. All right. But hey, signing off. Y'all have a great evening. I'm about to go eat me a good steak. See y'all later.
All right. Peace.